got nothing. That's why it's really important to always think anytime you're trying to be at that level, to learn a new process, to learn some knowledge in a new industry, in a new part of the real estate industry. As we all know, the real estate industry changes constantly, so it's always good to keep up with things. And these classes and training sessions like this are also another opportunity for you to learn and set yourself apart from your competitors. So it's all about what you do with the information after you leave here. That's all it is. It's really, sometimes it's simple. Getting back to the basics. Hard work is something we have to do. It doesn't happen easy anymore. It's not like it was 5-6 years ago, where life was a lot easier than it was nowadays. Now we got to work hard. Go back to the basics. So it's starting all over again, but I got to tell you, there's no other industry I would want to start over in any more than real estate, because it really gives you the best opportunity to get to the success that you want in anything, or however you view success. That's your choice. But ultimately, it's the action that you put on towards that habit that creates that success. One thing I always say is, my mind is always trying to gear to the positive, because that's the only way you can live nowadays. There's so much negativity out there. And one thing I always say, but it's my personal thing, I thank God every morning when I wake up, because that starts my day. And that's an opportunity for me to do something in my life, to change something in my life, to help somebody else, to create better income for myself, to create better income for my family. But of course, I always like to share a few thoughts before I start the presentation, because no matter what, we always need to be framed in regards to getting to that point that we want to get in our business and our families to be ahead. So here's a couple of things that I want to share with you, some habits that real estate agents that are successful have in common. And this is important. It starts off with probably the most basic thing, and that's in marketing. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about HUD marketing towards the end of the presentation. Unfortunately, I don't have too much time to spend with you to go through a whole marketing portion, but I'll definitely touch on some guidelines that you have to follow with HUD guidelines in regards to advertising HUD homes, and the great thing that you can do with advertising HUD homes. Who in here is a new agent? Okay, if you're new, and who in here does not have any listings, let's just put this way. Okay, so guess what? The people that have very limited listings or have no listings at all, I'm going to show you about 60 listings that you guys can advertise right now, today, after you leave here. Is that a good deal? Definitely. And that's what HUD Homes is all about. I'm going to share with you guys what that is and how you can get those in regards to advertising HUD Homes. It's really important that you put marketing efforts. And again, it's not about being a successful marketer, it's actually doing it. Leaving here today, taking stuff that you learned, and actually putting it into your business plan. And marketing is the most essential part of a successful real estate agent. They spend over 15 to 20% of their income in marketing alone. And sometimes even more, depending on how much business they want. Some people are just wanting more business, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's really up to you. The other thing is they spread the wealth. So what that means is that they diversify on their marketing. They check on stuff that is out there. For example, one part of their income or part of their budget is going to be on online advertising. Some part of their budget is going to be on newspaper, media, that kind of stuff, offline. Another part of their marketing is going to be on branding themselves. Whatever it is, you break up that segment, but you've got to spread your budget when it comes to advertising in different segments of advertising. One thing does not work all the time. In this market, the age and day that we live in, diversifying yourself in your marketing is the best chances of success that you'll have with regards to your career in real estate. So definitely think of that always. The other thing that they do, successful habits that successful real estate agents have, is they track their results. Without tracking your results, you really have no idea where your leads are coming from, correct? You can do all the marketing that you want. Maybe you're spending $10,000 on pay-per-click, but you're spending $4,000 on newspaper advertising. But you're getting a lot more bang for your buck on newspaper advertising for whatever reason. Well, if you don't know, if you don't track that, you're putting in a $6,000 extra a month where it shouldn't go. So if you're getting more bang for your buck on offline media, then put more money into it. I'm not telling you to stop doing one thing. No, keep it going, diversifying your marketing. But you want to spread your money where it's working for you. The only way you can do that is continue to track your marketing leads and where they come from. That is probably the most important part of marketing. The next thing you want to do is you want to set clear marketing goals. So you're a real estate agent, you're trying to get a listing from the seller. What are you going to do? You're going to show them how you're going to sell their property, correct? You're not going to tell them I'm going to put it on the MLS and that's it, I'm done. They're going to look at you and think, what, are you serious? No, you want to be out there as a creative marketer. Real estate industry, really, it's turned into a marketing industry. It wasn't like that before because, of course, it was a lot easier before. Word of mouth is still one of the best ways to capture leads. But I'll tell you one thing. It's not that way anymore, folks. You've got to be able to get more leads from other sources. Word of mouth will take you to a certain level, but it's really not going to be a level where it's going to get you to that successful point if you use it alone itself. That's one thing that we have to switch our mindset in regards to that, is thinking of all these marketing ideas that come through. So you're there with a seller, you want to provide them with about 10 bullet points of how you're going to market their property. And you know what? Putting it on Facebook is not enough. Putting it in Craigslist is not enough. Yes, Craigslist might get you a lot of leads, but that's not enough when you're looking to maybe get that seller motivated to use you, because that seller's got a lot of options out there. There's a lot of agents out there that are knocking on that seller's door all the time. So you've got to set yourself apart from the other agent that's going to have that appointment with them in about an hour later. So always remember that. Other things is you want to experiment with new technology. Successful agents always are using the cutting edge technology. Whether you like it or not, we live in a technology phase. You've got to get used to it. It's not hard. The internet is such a beautiful thing out there. It could be such a bad thing too. But if we look at the positives of what it has to offer us, we can learn so much just by searching something in Google. It's crazy how many things you can find out. All these forums, you search a problem that you're having with anything, and all of a sudden you're going to get search results from millions of other people that have the same exact problem that you're having. It's almost, sometimes I think it's ridiculous as to how this all works. But it's there for you. Utilize it. Utilize blogs. Utilize social media. Utilize technology, for example, the iPad. Whoever that lucky winner today for that iPad is really going to have a great asset to them. Because there's so much you can do in your real estate industry with an iPad. Guess what? You go to a HUD listing, and I don't know if you can do this on any other home out there, but you go to a HUD listing, you take your iPad with you, you log into HUDhomestore.com, guess what you can do right there? In front of the buyer, inside the house. You can put an electronic bid right in front of them, inside the house, while they're standing there. And guess what? You take them back to your office and complete the contract. Or vice versa. You complete the sales contract, then put the electronic bid. But it's available there for you to impress your clients. It's an excellent tool that is out there that you can just go online on HUDhomestore.com, log in, bid on that home that you're looking at right inside that house. Now, isn't that impressing your clients? Isn't that setting yourself apart? Isn't that making you a little different than any other person in there? And that's what I mean about the next point, is standing away from the crowd, being different. You've got to set yourself apart. You have a talent that nobody else has. Every one of us has unique gifts. You just have to use that gift in your business. Every one of us was not born a genius. We all became where we are because of the amount of level of experience that we've had in life, with the amount of level that we've learned, on whatever learning that we've done, the knowledge that we've captured. But the difference is what we do with that knowledge is the only last part of this whole puzzle, which I mentioned right at the beginning of my presentation. So please do whatever you can. That you always have to remember that action is what turns knowledge into power. Whoever told you knowledge is power, really, I think that's a very incomplete statement, because there's a lot of people out there with a lot of knowledge, with PhDs, that do nothing with their degrees, that do nothing with their knowledge that they have. That's why it's important for you and every one of you, you have an equal opportunity to go out there and compete to be the best that you can in this business, and nobody can tell you that you cannot. For anybody who has told you that prior, you need to stay away from those people, because that's some negative thing that you don't want in your life. You got to set yourself apart from that. You cannot sit there and let somebody ever in the past or in the present tell you that you can't do something, because every one of us has the same opportunity that anybody else out there has. So again, no matter how you wake up in the morning, no matter what happens in that morning, however I'm not feeling well, I'm just thankful that I do have today, another day to create something for myself. And if you just put that in your mindset right when you wake up, trust me, you'll change a lot of things in your life during the day. So I hope that was something that really caught your attention. And what we're going to be doing is learning a lot of new things today in regards to the whole HUD process. I'm going to show you some step-by-step stuff. I'm also going to get back to some basics, which we've kind of went away from. And I found out some of these basics have caused us a little issues and challenges, because when somebody as an agent or broker has a question on a HUD home store, or when they get emailed, I see all those emails that come in. And sometimes I reply to those emails, and I've seen a lot of challenges with certain things that are pretty repetitious, and I'm seeing that some agents really have the same questions. So that's how I hear my presentations whenever I teach these things, is because I interview my staff to find out what exactly are they seeing challenges from agents out there. I interview myself. I look at what I've been answering and replying to emails of questions that have occurred. I talk to our listing agents, find out what challenges they're having in their area, where we can kind of gear these presentations for you to get the best out of the whole presentation and out of the whole training session. So let's begin. It's a long list of things that we are going to talk about today. Now, we're going to go through the HUDhomestore.com, of course, blbresources.com, our website. I'm going to show you what's available on both of these websites. We'll talk about benefits of purchasing HUD homes. This is a clear topic that you need to be aware of, because when you're selling homes out there, or when you're selling anything, whether it's a service or a product, you want to make sure that you know what benefits there are in that service or product for you to be able to sell that product or service. If you don't know the benefits, you're going to be solely basing everything on price, and that's not how you sell. You want to sell the benefits to your clients, make sure that they understand what's available to them. That's a really important thing. NAID and broker registrations. How many in here are brokers? Or you know of that your broker is not registered with a NAID number? Anybody? Okay, so there's probably one or two people in here. Does anybody not know what a NAID is? Does anybody not know what I'm talking about? Okay, great. So we're pretty well versed on that. Okay, so I'll go through a quick screenshot of where you go to get your NAID number for the couple of people in here that don't have their NAID, but I won't spend too much time on it because there's a lot more other things that we need to cover. The HUD home process is important. I'll go through exactly what goes and what happens in the whole process of prior to it being listed, once it gets listed, and once it goes to the closing. I'll talk about the 3 listing periods: lottery, exclusive, and extended. Those are the 3 listing periods for HUD. It's important that you know every one of them and what happens in those listing periods, so that when you look at a HUD home and find it on HUDhomestore.com, you'll know what stage that home falls into. We'll also talk about bidding and submitting offers. I've got some screenshots of the side where an agent looks at. So when you're in there registered and you're logged into HUDhomestore.com, I'll show you some screenshots of what happens after you submit your bid, what to look out for, and we'll share those with you in a few minutes here as a part of our presentation. We'll definitely talk about overbidding, which is always a challenging topic for a lot of people when it comes to HUD homes, especially in the Arizona market. There's so, I'm not too sure if Tucson is that, that competitive when it comes to inventory amounts and the amount of offers that we're getting. But I know Maricopa County, it's really short on inventory, so what's happening is a lot of the people that are bidding on these HUD homes are overbidding because they're kind of technically happy because they're seeing their bids are not accepted. But there's certain things about overbidding on a HUD home that every one of you needs to realize. So I'm going to go through that with you today, and I'll give you examples so that every one of you knows exactly what happens when there is a overbidding situation. And then, of course, a HUD one-page contract. It's a great one-page contract that is not really hefty at all. With a couple of addendums, I'll touch on that for a little bit. You should have a successfully completed contract. Do you guys have that in front of you? It's, did we get the one that was successfully completed, or was there a blank one?
We have the successfully completed. If anybody has a blank one, we can bring by the successfully completed.
I really want you to, every one of you, have that successfully completed one, because it gives you a template of how a successful contract is completed and what it looks like on, let's say, the overall. Okay, so definitely we'll go through that one-page overview. I'm also going to talk about the most common errors that happen on sales packages, because those are important. To find out what the errors are so you stay away from those errors. And then I'll have Sandy Heath, one of our agents, is going to come up here very briefly talk about some of the common things that causes delays in escrow that you can be aware of so we don't get those delays when you're in an escrow on a HUD home. And then, of course, HUD home advertising guidelines. I'll be going through that very briefly towards the end. I'll also have Tim come up here, Tim Rerman, which is going to help us on home inspections, on your activation of utilities. It's really important to know what the process is like, and he'll go step by step with you briefly on how you go about doing an inspection on a HUD home. Okay, HUDhomestore.com. This is the site that you go to that has every little thing that you need to do on a HUD home. So all of the bidding occurs on this site. All of the properties that are currently active on the market, they're all on HUDhomestore.com. This is probably the first place you should go to when you're looking for available HUD homes, because this has the most real-time availability on a HUD home, is this site right here. This is also where the brokers that don't have a NAID number go and get a NAID registration, which I'll talk about in a couple of slides moving forward. Also on this site, there's actually a FAQ, a frequently answered questions. There's also videos on that. So if you're having issues with or challenges with bidding or submitting bids or how to look for a bid, it's all in there in a video format where you can actually view a video of how to successfully sell a bid, submit a bid. So it's really got some great information that every one of you should go and visit on this website if you haven't already. This is blbresources.com website. This is our homepage, and of course, on BLB Resources, the most important thing that I really love on that site is the seller broker handbook. Now, what you have in front of you today, I think it was passed out as a handout, is the quick seller broker reference guide. It's only 3 pages. That points out some certain points of the whole manual. What you'll find on our website itself, if you click on the home page and go to the home page, right in the middle, you'll see the Seller Broker Handbook link. You want to look for the 1S, Seller Broker Handbook. And you download that. It's an electronic file that you can save on your computer. It's about 50 pages long. But it's got the whole HUD selling process from A to Z. So anything you need to refer back to, you can definitely go back to that handbook and get most all of your questions answered straight from that handbook. So I highly recommend that you visit the website today and download that handbook. It's really, really full of information. Our website also has contracts where you go on the forms section of the website, and the forms section has all of the available forms in regards to the contracts, any addendum forms, change of financing forms, all that stuff is all available on our website. And also the HUD photo list. This is something that I will talk to you all about in advertising. It is definitely a great lead generating tool that's free and available to every one of you that you should be constantly utilizing. It gets updated on our website Friday evening. So I really encourage everyone to take advantage of that, because it's right in front of you, actually, that HUD photo list. And that is also an electronic copy that you can download, and it gets updated every Friday evening that you can use on your website, on your advertising, to advertise how to get a free copy of that HUD photo list that you will provide. So with that, you're generating leads when you're doing something like this. For example, on your website, you would set up a home page that has a form on there that says, for your free copy of a color photo list for HUD homes available in your area, fill in the registration form below. Registration form has to be very simple, just a name and email address, because your whole point is trying to capture a lead. And it's free and available to every one of you. We're the only asset manager in the country for HUD that has such a lead generating tool that is catered for all agents out there. Because this HUD photo list does not have any of our listing agents' information or names on there at all. The only name you'll see on that HUD photo list is our company name, BLB Resources, because we created that photo list. So it's available to you, and that's what I'm going to talk to you in regards to advertising, on how you have the availability of over, I think as of yesterday, there was 58 active HUD home listings that you can use in your advertising from as of today. So definitely some great benefits. I encourage you to visit our websites, blbresources.tv. That is our webcast channel where we have live webcasts, and we also have pre-recorded webcasts that are there with processes of HUD homes, marketing, everything that has to do with HUD homes, real estate. It has videos on there of my training workshops that are created before, so definitely take advantage of that. BWRadio.com are my radio shows that I do on Tuesday mornings. Previous shows, we have podcasts available on that. If you tune in on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. on blbradio.com, you can listen to the radio show right off your internet. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday. And then, of course, all our social media sites, which you can get to from our webpage, blbresources.com. There are acronyms, they're not acronyms, they're little symbols at Facebook, Twitter, Ustream, all that, where you can actually go directly to our social media sites and visit them as well. Okay, benefits of buyers purchasing HUD homes. Why would your buyers want to purchase a HUD home? Well, there's numerous benefits. First one is 3% closing costs. HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing costs at the close of escrow in a form of credit. However, you have to remember to negotiate that in your contract. It's not an automatic thing that happens. It has to be negotiated in your contract. Once you negotiate it, HUD accepts it, we're good to go. They'll pay up to 3%. Keep in mind, when you're bidding, your highest and best net bid is what HUD looks at, not the actual offer. Okay? So the bid amount takes, the net bid takes the bid that you put in, minus the commissions for that particular transaction, minus any seller credits. So this seller credit that you're putting in there affects your net bid, so keep that in mind. So if you don't need 3%, don't put 3% as a seller credit. You may only need 2% because HUD automatically pays for certain costs, and I'm going to go through that here today, so that way you know what HUD automatically pays for, and you don't have to incorporate that into your closing costs when you're working on a seller credit. The next great benefit is the escrow fee is paid for by HUD. So this is a tremendous benefit that no other home out there has. So HUD will pay the full escrow fee, and that can range anywhere from $300 to $900, some states even higher. Just depends on the purchase price. So definitely something that you want to relay to your buyers because they're already saving a major few $100s right there just off that escrow fee. Another benefit, HUD home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal. So every list price that you see, the original list price of that home, is based on an actual FHA as-is appraisal. So you're not going to get skewed prices regarding what the broker opinion is or what the BPO says or what somebody thinks it's valued. It's a professional FHA appraiser that goes out and appraises these properties in the local market where you're in to get the best actual price of the home. Here's another great benefit that many lenders don't even know, is this thing. If it's a condo or townhome, that's a HUD-owned condo or townhome, HUD is exempt from the that whole project approval. You don't need a project approval as long as it's a HUD home. So what that means, which is a really, really important part, is that 51 owner occupancy in that whole complex, it doesn't relate to a HUD home. So a lender cannot go by those guidelines because per mortgagee letter from FHA 2009-46B, it clearly states that HUD REOs are exempt from this the project approval on a HUD condo or townhome, which is an excellent thing because a lot of townhomes or condos out there that are in complexes, as you may well know, a lot of financing is out the door. You can't even do financing on those because of the project approval, because of the 51% owner occupancy in that building. Well, it doesn't exist here on a HUD home. So as long as it's an insured HUD home or insured with escrow, which I'm going to talk about the finance types, then you're good to go on that. Okay, so you can actually get financing, which is great for your first-time home buyers or people that are just moving into their, of course, first-time homes. FHA appraisal, this is another outstanding benefit because there already is an FHA appraisal on file. We order it because we need to set a list price on it. So that FHA appraisal is there already. So what that means is your buyer will not be responsible for purchasing a new appraisal, which saves them an average of about $400 on that cost right there. The only time that they will be responsible for buying their own appraisal is if that current appraisal that we have on file is expired. Because those appraisals for lending purposes are only good for 4 months. So if they're expired, and you can see when the appraisal date was done on the listing, each listing has that, you'll know when the expiration date is, and you'll know if your buyer has to purchase a new one or not. Okay? Or your buyer will have to purchase their own appraisal if it's a conventional or any other type of financing that's non-FHA. Because the appraisal that we have on file is an FHA appraisal. And please keep in mind, if your buyer is getting FHA financing, they have to use the appraisal that's on file with us, as long as it's valid. So please keep in mind that. Your lender cannot order a new appraisal on their own. They have to use the one that's on file. Unless it's a 203K. In 203K lending, it's a little different. There has to be a second appraisal. That's a different story. But on normal 203B, insured with escrow financing through FHA, they use that same appraisal that's on file. Another one, great benefit, IP finance type. And I'm going to go through this during the finance type section of the presentation. Buyers can actually put up to $5,000 in repairs, include them in their loan, which is an excellent tool that's available for FHA buyers. Okay. Now, keep in mind, and we're not talking about cosmetics. We're not talking about, oh, I need a new cabinet or new this, new that. No. We're talking about safety and hazard repairs that the lender calls out for if the underwriter needs them done, or if they are already called out on the appraisal, because the appraiser is the one that sets that IE amount, as you'll see on listings that are IE finance types, and I'm going to share that in a couple of slides here. Those, you'll see an escrow amount, and you have to keep in mind that those repairs are never done prior to the close of escrow. They are always done after the close of escrow. And your lender that has processed a HUD home prior to this will know exactly how to do that program. For lenders that are not familiar with the IE escrows, I'd suggest that you stay away from those lenders or go to another lender that has the experience, because it's really important not to have that transaction fall out of escrow in the middle of escrow because your lender does not know how to do an IE type of loan. Okay? So get with a lender that knows these things when you're out there. Also, another great, excellent benefit is the owner occupancy exclusivity bidding period. This is an excellent feature for owner occupants that have up to 30 days that they're not competing with investors on any home that's listed as insured or insured with escrow. Okay, it's 30 days priority for those owner occupants, which is a great thing to relay to your owner occupant buyers that they're not competing with other investors. And speaking of owner occupants, I'm going to tell you guys, this is where I'm going to go back to basics of what an owner occupant is, because I think we've fallen out of that. A lot of agents out there are submitting bids for investors because it's a very competitive market with low inventory, and especially on HUD homes, there's a 30-day window that's only available to owner occupants. So by the time that 30 days is up, it's probably not even available for investors. So investors are trying to get in as owner occupants. Well, you don't want to do that on a HUD home. Take it from me, please, because there are things that happen when that happens, and I'm going to share that with you in a few slides here. And I actually took that out of my presentation on my advanced trainings because I thought that's pretty basic. You have to know that what an owner-occupant is. But we've been seeing things happening out there that are not supposed to be happening. And I don't want you all to get caught in that kind of stuff. Okay, low EMD. This is an excellent benefit for your buyers. They're either putting a $500 earnest money deposit or $1,000. Simple as that. If the price of a purchase, list price on a HUD home is less than $50,000 or less, it's $500 earnest money deposit. If it's $50,001 or more, it's $1,000 earnest money deposit. Simple, nothing more, nothing less. Anything you put more will not enhance your bid, so don't do it. You don't want to risk your buyers more of an earnest money than they are required to. And of course, you don't want to put less because you can't submit it with less than that. So it's a great low amount of money for your first-time home buyers to come in with. Another great benefit, Good Neighbor Next Door program. That's an incentive that is out there for HUD homes, and that means that these are homes that are available to 4 categories of employees. And these are law enforcement, emergency medical techs, teachers, and firefighters. If your buyers fall into those 4 categories, and the HUD home is in a revitalized area, those types of buyers will have exclusive bidding rights on those for the first 7 days, and they will receive 50% discount on their purchase, which is a tremendous discount. However, there are not many HUD homes out there that fall into this category, so don't put all your eggs in one basket there and thinking that we can get as many as these as possible. There are not many out there that are listed. Yes, ma'am? That's based on your lender for the financing. But your lender will qualify you on the full amount, not the 50%, so keep that in mind. And if you have any questions during my whole presentation, we will go through a question and answer at the end. I just want to make sure I get through the whole presentation because I got a lot of information to cover with you guys. So we'll definitely go through the question and answer at the end. So just write them down, and I'll definitely be able to help you out on it. Just keep also in mind one more thing. Good Neighbor Next Door program. You as a selling agent or the listing agent, neither one of you gets a commission on it. That's a kicker. But think about this, guys. This happens all the time. If you're selling a home that's a Good Neighbor Next Door home to a firefighter, emergency medical tech, teacher, or law enforcement, you're getting them a 50% discount on their house. You think that those type of buyers will not pay you a 3% commission fee? That's all you have to do is have that as a separate part of your contract. You still get paid, but directly from the buyer. It happens all the time because they are grateful for getting that home at a 50% discount. Sandy, you want to add something?
Ray, you may add that that is also a charge that can be financed in their first half of the first 50%. They can finance their commissions and all of their closing costs. It will actually only be a $100 down payment for Good Neighbor Next Door buyer.
Yeah, it's a great program, as Sandy mentioned. So there are ways to do that. I really highly suggest you talk to your lender because your lender will have this information as well to provide for you. But keep in mind, those that Sandy's talking about is only on a Good Neighbor Next Door. Okay, that's the only way that commission works on that. Okay, another quick benefit: all homes are listed on HUDhomestore.com. So it's a great thing for you to tell your buyers, you know what, sit in bed in your pajamas and find a home you love. Let me know tomorrow morning which one you want to see. It's sometimes a great way to have them see the homes for themselves because a lot of times on these, regular REOs or regular houses, they don't have access to the MLS, of course. They do have access online where there's a lot of search engines online, Realtor.com. You probably have some on your website that they can see. But this is something that's real-time available, that they can go to HUDhomestore.com in any state that they want to purchase. They can actually do so ongoing there. But of course, they need the assistance of you as an agent because they cannot submit an offer themselves. They have to do it through you as a licensed agent that is HUD registered through a name number as far as a broker, of course. Quick response to bids. We have a very quick response within 24 hours of the bid deadline. Remember that key word in there. 24 hours of the bid deadline. So we cannot respond to bids unless the bid deadline has occurred. 24 hours within that time frame, you will receive if your offer is accepted, you'll receive an acceptance. If your offer was not accepted, you will not receive any response from anybody. You will have to log back into your bidding functions on HUDhomestore.com to get a status of your bid. And I'll show you exactly how to do that in the upcoming slide. Bids are reviewed Saturdays, which is another great benefit. We technically don't, we used to not review the bids on Saturdays. Now, we are opening up bids on Saturdays. So anybody that put in an offer on Friday, if the bid deadline was that Friday, if you're the accepted offer, will receive notice on a Saturday too. We just recently started doing that. And then of course the FHA 203K program is available on most of these homes. Please take advantage of the program. It's an excellent program that will increase your income in this market, especially with the way homes are right now. They're not turnkey as they used to be. There's a lot of REOs that are damaged. They're not in the best condition. You need to be aware of what the 203K program offers to you. It's an excellent, excellent program that you can create extra income with as long as you know there's just the general basics of the program. You don't want to be the expert because you're not a lender, but you want to know about the program. So I suggest you follow up and find out, talk to your lender, some of the basic bullet points of this program and how it works so you can sell it as a benefit to your buyer. Here's another great benefit, the last one that I'm going to go through, actually the next to last one, there's one more. Did you know that when your buyer is coming in with FHA financing, that they get a free termite report and clearance on the home? And if the house that they bid on and won was prior to 1978, they also will get an automatic lead-based paint inspection and stabilization done up to $4,000 on that home. Keep this in mind, this is only for your FHA buyers, okay? If your buyers come in with conventional or paying cash or any other non-FHA, they're responsible for both of these items there themselves. But this is something that we have to automatically order every time we know that the winning bidder is using FHA financing as their financing. That automatically gets ordered by us and it gets taken care of by HUD and paid for by HUD. And the last but not least is the sealed bids, bid transparency. This is an excellent benefit to relate to your buyers because you know that every one of your bids, as long as it falls in the bid deadline, is viewed because it comes directly to us and HUD. It does not go to the agent. So if you were to ever call the listing agent and ask him how many bids we have or how many offers, you call them, offers are the same thing as bids. The agent wouldn't know because they don't know because the bids don't come to them. They don't even know how many bids are coming through. They just know the amount of activity that's coming from the calls that they're receiving about the homes. They can tell you that there's a lot of activity on the home. They just can't tell you how many bids were done, what the bids were, nothing like that. That's why there's so much bid transparency and how these bids are sealed is excellent way. We don't even see the bids until the bid deadline. We see them in there in the queue, we just can't open them up. That's how the system works. That's how transparent they are. So it's an excellent way to let your buyers know that your bid is going to be reviewed definitely. So now that we know the benefits, we can go out there and sell these HUD homes. Now, where do you find these HUD homes? They're available on HUDhomestore.com 24 hours a day. That's the best place to look at them as far as real time. They're also available on your local MLS, but sometimes if a property gets accepted, it gets accepted in the morning, but the MLS, it might not even be on HUDhomestore.com anymore because it got accepted, but the MLS still shows it as active. Well, there's about a 2 to 3 hour window by the time we get notified of the acceptance, by the time we notify the listing agent that there was an accepted bid, and by the time the listing agent does that and puts it in which they do that immediately. But keep in mind, there's always a 2 to 3 hour window. That's why I always say, first place is first, go to HUDhomestore.com. If it's on there, 99% of the time it's available. There's very slim chances that it won't. It may fall into the time when we're reviewing bids and still showing available. That could happen. But that's where to go to get the accurate information in regards to that. But it's also available on your local MLS. Broker name registration, we had a couple of brokers in here that don't have that. You really need to go on HUDhomestore.com and click on the name registration right there. That's where you go to get your name registered. There's an application you have to fill out. There's some forms and documents you need to send with your application package to the Santa Ana Center in California, in Orange County. That's where the Home Ownership Center for HUD is. And they process your name right there. It's generally taking them quicker now. It used to take 4 to 6 weeks. Now it's taking about 2 to 3 weeks. So as long as you have everything in there correctly, you're good to go. Okay, the whole HUD home process. 2 major players in this whole HUD home process are this: the field service manager and the asset manager. Those are the 2 that you really need to know. Field service manager is the one that, it's a privately held company that is the one that's responsible for rekeying the property, doing all the property preservation on the home, making sure that the safety and hazard to the house is okay before it gets listed by us, before it gets to us as the asset manager. And as I mentioned, the second one is important, is the asset manager themselves, which is us, DLB Resources, for the state of Arizona. And we are the ones that handle the liquidation of that property through our listing agents. So what happens is we only manage that side of it, the marketing and the selling of the site. We don't do anything with the termites, the home inspections, the preservation of the property, the rekeying of the property. That's all handled by the field service manager. We have nothing to do with that portion. Okay, so those are the 2 that you really want to know who they are in regards to a HUD transaction. So what happens is the field service manager gets the assignment first. They inspect the property. They make sure everything is okay, safety and hazard, before it gets assigned to us as the asset manager. Once we get it, we do our inspection, we order an appraisal, and eventually gets put on the market by the listing agent. After the property is listed, you as a licensed agent or broker shows the property. However, anybody in here can show a property, even if they don't have a name registration. But to put a bid on the property, you have to have a name registration, so keep that in mind. Then once we receive the bids, we process those bids to see who's the successful bidder. And then once that's done, the brokers that have the accepted bid are going to be notified by HUDhomestore.com and by us as the asset manager. So every one of you currently now, we don't notify all bidders. So I'm going to show you in a couple of slides how to look at your bids and find out if you had the accepted bid or what happened to your bid. So if your bid is accepted, what we do is you have to have a signed sales package back to our office in Irvine, California within 2 business days. Okay? Saturday and Sunday and any major federal holiday is not considered a business day. So if you get a bid accepted on Friday, technically you have till Tuesday to submit that contract back to us. So it's 2 business days. The EMD, the earnest money deposit, must be in certified funds, in a cashier's check, or a money order. Now, in 1S region, state of Arizona, it does not have to be a U.S. postal money order. It could be from MoneyGram or Western Union, as long as it's certified funds. Same thing with a cashier's check. But the most important part of this money deposit is that it has to be made out to HUD, or you put the buyer's name in there. The buyer's name and HUD have to be on there, and their little or right in between. Not and, because that's not going to work. It's going to get sent back, and it cannot say just HUD or the buyer's name alone. It has to have HUD or John Smith. Very simple, but it gets overlooked a lot. So please pay attention to your earnest money deposit before it gets submitted to us. And then, of course, we review the package and request any corrections that needed to be done on it. Based on it, hopefully, you submit a package that is clear, without errors. And I'm going to mention some of the errors that we've seen a lot of common errors that we've seen, so that way you can avoid them when you're submitting your contract. And then the closing, of course, happens either at the closing agent's office or is emailed out for signatures. The title is then transferred from HUD to the new owner, but please keep in mind that your buyer is responsible for rekeying the property. So it's not like a regular home where you go out there as an agent and hand them over the keys. It doesn't work like that on a HUD home. Because keep in mind, there's only 5 or 6 sets of keys in the whole nation that HUD uses. So that means that those 5 or 6 sets can be out there in anybody's hands out there, in the inspectors, real estate agents, whoever it is. So in regards to the liability of the home, you want to let your buyers know, and maybe that's some kind of gift you can give them at the close of escrow, I don't know, whatever works on you guys. But they do have to rekey the property at the day of close of escrow, not before, not any time before, please keep that in mind. And then of course, one thing I do want to remind you all in regards to the importance of closing within the 45 or 60 day allotted time. We're not giving extensions out like we used to because HUD mandated a new thing for us that we really have to get better on our closing time frames. There's a lot of lender delays that happen, and prior to this first of the year of this year, we were giving extensions like they were just cookies to everybody. It just happened all the time. It's not automatically happening. So please keep that in mind. You want to be proactive. When you're seeing a problem occur or there's a challenge in it and you know about it, let us know. You know, if you're going to request an extension, request it 10 days prior to the original close of escrow date. Don't wait till the day before close of escrow to actually request one. It's not going to work like that. Okay? We actually, part of our surge team that we call in our office now is making phone calls to all the agents, the selling agents. I'm sure you've received a call if you've been in an escrow with us on getting a status when it's getting close to the close of escrow date to see if we're in line still with that close of escrow date, that original date. So please just keep that in mind. Extension policy, what is it and how it works? It is broken down into 15-day increments. So even if you just need one more extra day, you have to put in for a 15-day inspection. And you pay the 15-day inspection fee, extension fee. However, whatever days that you don't use on that extension fee, it gets prorated and your buyer will get the credit back at the close of escrow. Okay? But the fee must be submitted. Okay? Keep that in mind. Okay, going back to the basics. Who is an owner-occupant? The reason why I state this is, again, because of the lack of inventory, a lot of investors are saying, oh, no problem. We did it 6-7 years ago. Let's submit it as an owner-occupied. It's very simple. This is a federal home. You don't want to risk your license and a federal offense because of an investor and because of those couple of $1,000 commissions. It's not worth it. I've seen it happen before where NAIDs get suspended, fines are incurred with agents, and of course, I do want to let you know about this whole caution that I stopped reading this because I thought we were over this, but unfortunately, we're back in that phase where I have to mention this all the time, is that, of course, falsifying information regarding owner occupancy status is a felony and is punishable by a prison sentence of no more than 2 years and a fine of up to $250,000. It's that serious, folks. You don't want to mess around with an investor because of stuff like this. Okay? HUD does check on these things. I tell you, I guarantee you, they do. So just be careful. It's not worth it. So owner-occupant, they have to purchase it for the primary residence for up to 12 months, and they must not have purchased a HUD home in the past 24 months. Okay? That's what an owner-occupant is in the eyes of the HUD. Okay? Everybody clear on that? We're good? Any questions on that I can answer? Just on owner occupancy. Nothing else, please, because I'm going to go through that question and answer.